All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever been part of a branding project, I'm sure you know this feeling all too well. You've got this brilliant, super insightful brand strategy document. It's packed with charts, analysis, all these big ideas. But then there's this huge, frustrating gap when it's time to actually design the logo or the website or any of the visuals. Well, today, we're going to build the bridge over that gap. Does this sound familiar? You've done all this incredible strategic work. You've chosen these perfect words like innovative or approachable or reliable. And then somehow they just seem to evaporate when the design phase starts. The work that comes back feels a little generic or maybe just not quite right. Look, it's a super common breakdown, and I promise you it is not just you. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. We're not talking about some small little hiccup in the process. This is one of the most widespread problems in the entire branding industry. Having a sophisticated strategy is amazing, but let's be honest, if you can't turn it into creative work that actually works, then it's just a really, really expensive document. So what's actually going on here? To solve this thing, we've got to diagnose the problem first, right? So let's take a look at why projects get so stuck and what's creating this massive divide between that strategic plan and the final design. When you boil it all down, the root cause is really a communication breakdown. And it's not that one side is right and the other is wrong, not at all. It's just that strategists and creatives are basically trained to think and work and communicate using completely different toolkits. They're speaking different professional languages. And you can see it really clearly here, these two worlds side by side. On one hand, you've got strategy. It's built on analysis, on data, on logical frameworks. It's all about the what and the why. And then you've got creative. It runs on intuition, aesthetics, visual references. It's all about exploring the how. Now, they're both aiming for the exact same goal, but they're starting from totally different places. So because these two worlds don't really have a shared language, teams often take this massive and, frankly, dangerous leap. They jump straight from that analytical strategy document right to the final design execution. They completely skip these essential translation steps in the middle. And that, right there, is where so many projects just fall apart. So how do we fix it? Well, we don't need a leap of faith. What we need is a bridge. And that bridge is a dedicated, systematic phase we call creative exploration. And listen, this isn't about adding more work. It's about adding the right work to make sure you succeed. So, what is creative exploration exactly? Think of it as that critical phase that translates the strategic what into a bunch of tangible creative hows. And there are two really key parts here. You're identifying promising new directions, but, and this is crucial, you're doing it while maintaining strategic alignment. It's freedom, but within a framework. So what does this bridge actually look like? Well, it's built on three really solid pillars. First, you've got comprehensive visual research. Second, strategic mood board development. And third, a systematic process for coming up with concepts. Let's see how this whole thing comes together. Okay, so let's walk through this process in action. We're going to see exactly how you take those abstract words from a strategy doc and systematically turn them into concrete, tangible design concepts that you can actually see and feel. It all starts with mood boards, but, and this is important, not by just randomly grabbing cool-looking images. The inputs are absolutely critical. You start with the brand strategy document itself. You add a huge collection of visual references. And then you have a crystal clear set of creative objectives. The strategy directly fuels the creative from the very beginning. And it is so important that we reframe what a mood board actually is. It is not a scrapbook. It's a strategic synthesis tool. Its job is to take all of those inputs and distill them into a few distinct visual directions. You can think of each one as a hypothesis, asking, what if the brand felt like this? Okay, so once you've got those mood boards validated and everyone's on board, you move from that second pillar into the third one, systematic ideation. This is where we translate those aesthetic feelings into a high volume of actual, concrete ideas for the logo and the whole visual identity. And creativity here does not mean you're just waiting for a lightning bolt of inspiration to strike you. No way. It means using structured techniques, things like mind mapping based on the brand's core values, or developing visual metaphors for that key positioning statement. These are repeatable, systematic methods that help you generate great ideas on purpose. And the results of this systematic approach? Volume. Pure volume. Instead of struggling to come up with, 2 or 3 decent ideas, a structured process like this can generate over 100 raw concepts. And it's that sheer volume that allows you to find those truly unique, strategically aligned gems instead of just settling for the first idea that popped into your head. Okay, so let's start to wrap this up. Having a system like this isn't just about being more efficient. It's about being more effective. It is your built-in method for overcoming those creative blocks and stuck points that completely derail so many projects. And this is where having a system becomes so practical, it becomes your best friend. It gives you a protocol for fixing problems. For example, are your concepts starting to feel a little generic? Don't just try harder. Go run more expanded ideation exercises. Are the brand traits not quite coming through in the visuals? Go back and do some deeper customer research. It gives you a specific cure for a specific problem. Ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. The creative exploration bridge is basically your insurance policy. It's the system that guarantees all that brilliant strategic thinking that you did is actually seen and felt in the final design work. And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. When you really look at how your team moves from strategy to creative, are you building a sturdy, systematic bridge? Or are you just closing your eyes, taking a leap of faith, and hoping you land safely on the other side?